Happy birthday to all my cancers and those born on the 2nd, the 11th, the 20th, or the 29th of the month. Today, we're going to hear the July Astro-Numerology forecast for the month. We are now in the month of July. July favors cancers and anyone born on a number like the 2nd, the 11th, the 20th, or the 29th of the month. We're going to see what we can expect in this month of Cancer or during this month of Cancer. How you doing, Lloyd? What's going on?
Kimbaley, how you doing? I am doing fine. Well, one thing we can expect is a Mercury retrograde. Yes, the full moon will be on the 10th, which means the moon will be in the sign of Capricorn, its opposition. But 7 days later, the moon will go into Mercury retrograde all the way through August the 11th. And for those that may not be familiar, Mercury is the planet that governs communications, which means miscommunications, misunderstandings, misdirections, missteps, mishaps, etc., etc.
So that puts a whole new twist on this month. The
Yeah,
Mercury retrograde.
all it simply means is to think first before you just open your mouth.
Okay, we're going to get into
Pause.
all of that. But before we get to all of that, we got to finish what we started in June. How was June?
June was okay. June was for me, a period of self-starting, a period of getting in a new direction, coming up with new ideas. Uh, Thanks to a very good friend of mine, I was inspired to begin to really lay the groundwork for a project that should have really been put into motion. And I already thought about that. I hopefully, if I play my cards right, that by maybe September, October, it will be complete.
Hmm. Wishing you all the most luck in that area.
Thank you. Thank you. And what about
Um,
you with June?
Oh, June started out a little slow, but I tell you, it went by fast after a while. After maybe the first week or so, June was zooming right on by. So it wasn't a really bad month, but June is not as favorable to some of the other to me than some of the other months. So it was a little challenge from time to time, but hey, I made it through. It's July now, and I'm getting into the good season.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, this is an interesting thing. As you know, one of the features we do is always the almanac. That is, what are some of the do's, when to buy this, or break a habit, or grow your hair, or cut your hair, whatever the case is. So maybe we'll start off with that. So most people are like, well, I shouldn't say a lot nowadays because it's so expensive, but if you need to buy a car, think of the 1st, the 20th, and the 21st of the month, according to the almanac that we take from Llewellyn George's moon book. Those would be the dates that would be ideal. Now, since Mercury is going to be retrograde after 11, make sure you just don't take anything and have a slick car dealer talk you into buying insurance and undercoating for the car and all the things you don't need, but make sure you be more efficient about it. As for business itself, or starting a business, the 9th and the 27th would be ideal. However, since Mercury is going to be retrograde during the 27th, if so, make sure you dot those I's, cross those T's, and double check everything before you sign off on it to make it a go. As for electronics, now there are going to be a couple of days, such as the 2nd, the 11th, the 20th, the 21st, and the 29th. But because when Mercury is retrograde, normally that's not the best time to buy electronics, so to speak. It's going to be kind of contradictory, but this is what the almanac indicates. Me, I do it with a little caution. I'd make sure I put some insurance on it. So if it falls apart, you can kind of take it back and get a refund or an exchange. Now, what about habits? We all make resolutions from the beginning of the year, and each month we're going to stop doing this, we're going to stop doing that. Well, the 20th and the 22nd should be the ideal dates. So if you want to say, I'm tired of doing this and I'm tired of eating too much Haagen-Dazs ice cream, that would be the time to break the habit. Now, what about those that's got a thick head of hair? Okay. Well, and if you want to really, or I should say, maybe your hair is thinning and you want to make it grow, then the 6th through the 10th of this month would be an ideal day to get your hair cut, shaved, whatever the case is, to stimulate more growth. Now, what about somebody says, well, listen, I got a head full of hair and I need to kind of lessen it? Well, that would be on the 14th to 15th, the 18th through the 21st, and then the 24th of the month too. That would be the best time if you want to, your hair's growing wild all over the place like trees and whatnot. Use those dates in order to kind of like, trim it and whatnot. And then when you ask for a loan, make that on the 25th and 26th. However, because Mercury will be retrograde, okay, that simply means that don't expect much. Or you might think you want to get like, say, a $10,000 loan, and the best you can get is a $5,000 loan, or maybe a $2,500 loan. So whatever you can get, those will be the ideal deal days, the 25th, 26th, and we'll keep our fingers crossed for you. Okay, that's what we'll do. Now,
Well, if Mercury retrograde does nothing else, it'll make us save money.
yeah. And one beautiful part about Mercury retrograde, one of the ironies is, let's say you've lost a ring or lost whatever the case is, you can't find it around the house. Well, when Mercury's retrograde, you can practically step on it. And you be saying, where were you? It's those kinds of things. But it simply means to take your time, slow down with this new no touch law that was effected on June the 5th of last month, whereby you're in a car and you can't touch your phone, even look at your phone, whatever the case is, because you will be pulled over. So with Mercury retrograde, just make sure that if you don't want to get extra ticket, and I understand you can be fined up to $450 plus some points on your license too. So people are distracted on the phone. I guess the younger generation is so used to looking at their tablet, being on the phone, and not paying attention, knowing when you're going at a fast speed, things can happen in fractions of a second.
That could go a bit deeper too, because it's a good thing you gave that warning. Because when you think about the phone and Mercury being retrograde, Mercury rules communication. So it's really not a good time for, even without before the law, it would not be a good time. Well, no time's a good time to be driving up and down the road on your phone or texting or whatever. So thank you for keeping us safe.
But you know what? To add another layer to what you just said, and thinking about it, since Mercury is the planet of communications, that would behoove people even more so when Mercury goes retrograde. Now, although it officially goes retrograde on July the 11th, there's a shadow effect. So you got to allow several days before you actually hit that point, and several days after it ends on August the 11th. So I would advise everybody to avoid tickets, to avoid maybe potential accidents, and not get distracted. If the phone rings, get to a stop, or wait till the next light, take a look. And if it's that serious, just pull over. It's err on the side of safety. That's the point. And common sense. I think that's the best way to go in a case like this. It's not that serious.
I agree. I agree. Now we're going into July. We already talked about some of the dates that are important according to the Almanac. Tell us a little bit about July. What can we expect in July?
Well, July is the birthday home of the sign of Cancer. It is a cardinal sign period, which means it officially is the start of summer. And will we be in what is called a 7 universal month? How did I do that? In order to get the universal month, you must know the universal year first. In this case, 2025 is a 9. So 2020, well, or 9, which is from 2025, plus the seventh calendar month equals 16, and 1 plus 6 is 7. Of all the numbers this year, it is the number 7 that rules the sign of Cancer. So for all cancers and people born on the 2nd, the 7th, the 11th, the 16th, the 20th, the 25th, or the 29th of the month, this is your time. You should be right at home. And for cancers, by the way, or for the see, when I say universal, you're everybody to greater or lesser degrees. 1, it is a good time to search your soul, to really begin to go deep and ask why you do the things you do about this, that, or the other. It is also a sign of a cycle of secrets revealed. And anytime I say that to people, I notice they always think it's something dark or sinister, but the person may find they have a creative talent that they never knew before, you know? Yeah, it could be something like, I knew there was always something said about the family. We all know about that. But basically, it is about more like, in part, really self-discovery. To see what else you have to bring to life other than your 9 to 5 or whatever the case is. And this adds variety to it too. This is a cycle also of what is called strange and prophetic dreams. Strange means you go to bed and you wake up and they say that was the weirdest dream. Or prophetic means you get off a bus or step out of a cab or whatever the case is, and all of a sudden you almost shock yourself because you remember this in a dream. That's prophetic, or as they call it, deja vu. All righty. And so, but it's about being a seeker of wisdom and knowledge and understanding. Normally in a 7 cycle like this month of July of 2025 this is when people begin to go back to church. They go get psychic readings. Some begin born again Christians or whatever the case is. It adds mental clarity, if nothing else also. And it's good for shadow work, as they call it, to get inside of yourself, to look at those parts that we kind of keep behind the scenes that are challenging, that if people really knew what we had hidden, they probably wouldn't talk to us, okay? It'll be that kind of thing. But more importantly, 7 governs the law of attraction. What do I mean? Of all the cycles, this is the one that most people find challenging. Why? Because we live in a world that's strictly about materialism, money, chasing the bag, got that job, 9 to 5, whatever the case is. And we also live in the world of emotions, relationships, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, whatever the case is. Well, 7 is none of those. 7 is more about spirituality. It is more about a higher consciousness, a more thing that deals with intuitions and hunches and things of that nature. So instead of chasing after things, the nature of a 7 is, you can think of a 7 as a magnet, then you would understand why this would not be the month to chase after anything. So if you're chasing after money, it's because it's running away from you, as a dear friend once told me. So instead of chasing after things, you think of yourself as a magnet. And what does a magnet do? It magnetizes and brings things to you. So this month particularly governs the law of attraction, and everybody should exercise that too. So if a person's walking around, as I jokingly say, I don't have no money, I don't have no money, well, by the end of July, that faith will be fulfilled and you won't have a penny more than what you had when you talked about it. So just see it on the mental screen of your mind. See it here. Hold on to that image. You know what I'm saying? Lock it in so it can be manifest with a purpose to bring it to you, to bring all those things into reality. So if money is what you want, that's what you hold on to. If relationship is what you want, that's what you hold on to. If it's a new car or a better job or better situation or whatever it is on the material plane you desire, put it on the mental screen of your mind. And as the elders used to say, you then let go and let God, because 7 is magnetic. And 7 is associated with all the famous religious movements, from Christ to Buddha to the Nation of Islam to you just name it, Christian Science, Jehovah's Witness. All of these have a very strong 7 influence. Even when you go to a Muslim, make his Hajj in Mecca or Medina, He's got to circle the cobblestone 7 times. They even say in the Bible, they circle the walls of Jericho 7 times. They sounded the walls of, they made the sounds or sound, they signed the horns or whatever. Well, anyway, the walls came tumbling down. That's the point. Okay. So listen, okay. So, but if nothing else, meditate. Meditate means to get some time to yourself where you know how you say, I need to hear myself think. Well, that's meditation. Meditation connects you with the Most High. Meditation at first is going to be challenging because the mind is always busy. Even when you're meditating, even the most experienced persons will tell you that the mind is always busy. So if you're new to meditation, you think, well, okay, I'm going to cut off everything, forget it. You'll be discouraged. So do it in stages, 5 minutes, get enough, 10 minutes. And by the time, if you do this from the beginning of July to the end, you'll be up to 15, 20 minutes with no problems. And then when you close your eyes, you find that all of a sudden you begin to feel your body go into a deeper feeling of relaxation. And this is when ideas come to you. So a lot of, you know how they say, I got to sleep on this. Well, that's kind of like what meditation does too, you know? So that is it. And so since we're in the sign of Cancer, that's exactly the sign we're going to start with first. Okay. And you're going to find that this is going to be a good time for all the signs. And we're going to do this each month. I think next month is Leo. And then after that is Virgo. So we decided to go all around the dial this time and start with the sign of Cancer. All righty. So any questions before we start?
No, I was just going to say that I think our world right now really needs this seven energy to kind of pull us away from a lot of the things that are going on and happening, because it's like we're um, well, most people are caught up in the physical reality when we really need the time for self. And that's what the seven does. And the seven is a little different to me than all the other cycles, because in the seventh cycle, you experience things that you don't experience in those other cycles. And the way that I described it is kind of like, do you remember how people used to say, "Oh, that child was born with a veil over their face" or something? It's like the seven allows you to kind of strip away all of the material things in the world and just kind of focus on self and focus on the creator. And like you said, get into that shadow work. And I feel like the seven is going to be great for everybody this month.
It can be very revealing. It all depends on, and normally things that are hidden come to light. You know what I'm saying? Especially things that could be of a toxic nature or whatever the case is, totally by accident, whatever the case may be. But more importantly, though, to seek what you want. And in fact, not only do people, as I said earlier, go back to church or become born again Christians, but all of a sudden they're attracted to want to get a reading. They want to know something that goes beyond the 5 senses. Okay. It does rule worry. So people, and with this anxiousness of happening at wars and all this stuff, a lot of people are probably going to be on edge a little bit, which is not going to help. They're trying to get the Supreme Court to pass and accept mass layoffs. So it's going to be a crazy time. But if you don't chase, hold still, hold the image of what you want on the mental screen of your mind, and that will come to you. Now, you cannot put the creator on a deadline. Well, I need to have that vehicle by like in 2 weeks. It's no, it don't work like that. Okay. You just hold on to the
You
image.
can't say, "Let me get it before the Mercury retrograde start."
No, you cannot. No, let me put it like this. Everybody's pulling on the man upstairs, okay? You think he gonna say everybody like, okay, I need a grand by so and so and so and so. Yeah, right. But what you do is if you're faithful, see, and this is the point, you got to be faithful to the seven. You got to really believe in it. And just like some people believe, well, I don't have no money. You hold on to that belief, and I guarantee you by the end of this July, you'll be less, no further in your resources. So whatever you want to hold on to it and have the faith and the belief, as the elders say, you let go and let God, because 7 is God's number. It will bring it to you. And if you can visualize and try to see yourself as a magnet. And anytime, if you know, it's interesting. If you turn the polarity of a magnet around and push it to the object will move away. But if you put that magnet close enough to what you want, it will come to you. So think of it like that. That's how you got to think to get what you want. Just think about it, and it shall be unto you. That is certain, okay? But you can't put no deadlines on it. If your sun or moon or ascendant is in the sign of Cancer, your theme this particular month is about forgiveness. What do I mean? Well, first of all, there's no one more loving, caring, and sharing and forgiving than your sign, Cancer. All right. But it means to have also a sense of global awareness, a humanitarian attitude toward helping one another. It is about manifesting some of your dreams that you want, making your dreams come true. But also in the process of forgiving, it will be a process of elimination to begin to put some things aside to say, okay, I've outgrown this. I no longer need that. And whatever little slights or hurts or indignations that have been drawn to you, learn the art of forgiveness. And especially in the first week, because it indicates you're going to be standing on your own, making the decision somewhere around the first Sunday of the month, or somewhere around about the first or the fourth, give or take a day or two. It's going to be in the second week when the moon is in your opposition sign on the 10th and the 11th. And don't forget, it's on the 11th that the moon will actually be sitting just about ready to go into the sign of Mercury retrograde about several days later. But it'll be a full moon on that day. So it just means be tactful, be diplomatic, don't rush, don't let people force you, and try to use the art of persuasion to get the things you want rather than trying to just wrestle it from somebody. It's not going to work. That's not it, especially again when the moon is in your stress sign during those 2 days. But it's going into that third week of the 15th through the 21st. Did you have a chance to grow, to expand, to blossom, to become that better person, that better version of yourself, so to speak, to be more creative in problem solving, to be more creative in your sense of forgiveness, to use your imagination to kind of make sure that instead of the same old, add a little color and spice and ingenuity to what you're doing, and you'll find that it work well. Also, as you go into the final week, that is when you're going to find around the 23rd, the 22nd, or I should say the 22nd, 23rd, excuse me, where the moon is going to be actually sitting in your sign, and it's going to allow you to lay the foundation of the groundwork to how the month comes to an end. So if you've been wanting to establish some stability, if you've been wanting to establish a sense of order and purpose and direction and focus, that last week, especially on the 22nd and the 23rd, again, when the moon is sitting in your sign, is going to be an ideal thing for you. Now, who is likely to help you during your birthday month, Cancers? Well, you'll find that Aries will help you, uh, Scorpios will help you, in a minor way, Leos will help you, or they will be born on the 9th, the 18th, or the 27th of the month. And in fact, the color you should wear is maroon from the lightest to the darkest. And the stone or crystal you should wear or carry is rhododrite. That's Rhodorite. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Rhodorite. Rhododrite. Um, I'm sure I'm maybe mispronouncing the syllables, but anyway, if your sun or moon or ascendant is in the sign of Leo, your theme this particular month is success. Now, what do I mean? Some form of recognition, some form of abundance, but to aim and set your sights as high as you possibly can, to allow for no ceilings, no limitations. You know how they say sky's the limit? Well, that is the cycle that all Leos are in for this particular month. So imagine your birthday month, but this month, says now you can make your moves. Now you can do the things you need to, especially in the material realm, since the cycle is governing more financial matters, documents, and things of that nature. Now, what's going to happen in the very first week of of July is going to give you an opportunity to bring some closure to anything that might be a pull on your resources, to draining, wasteful spending, buying on impulse. That would not be the best way to do it, because you want to make sure that everything is set. So it's going to be kind of like maybe making your dreams come true, but at the same time, not to the point that it drains monies from you unnecessarily. Although you're going into the second week, which is going to really favor your sign of Leo, especially around the second Sunday, around the 10th. But on the 12th and the 13th, the moon is going to be sitting in your direct opposition sign. So it means, yes, now you're going to feel the urge to begin to be a self-starter, to get things going and moving, especially as it relates to success and gathering of abundance and things of that nature. However, just during those 2 days of the 12th and the 13th, it just says you've got to be a little mindful of not to get too carried away and whatnot, but it will allow you at the same time, despite those 2 days, to get it off to the kind of way you want to. It's in that third week of the 15th to the 21st where you really have a chance to kind of like slow it down, take it easy, and begin to bit by bit work out your plans, work out a blueprint, as it were, work out some way of how you're now going to gather your nest egg and put it away. It's interesting, like nuts during the cold season, they will gather nuts and nuts. So when the storm comes, they're stockpiled. So it's not that it's, in fact, July is a hot month, but symbolically, take what little reserves or little things you got and begin to pile them up. So in case there is some kind of emergency of any kind, you are more than ready to do what you got to do. Going into the third week, well, on the 25th and the 26th, when the moon is actually sitting in your sign, and you'll be in an abundant week, especially around that last Thursday of the month or somewhere around the 30th. But on the 25th and 26th, when the moon does sit in your sign, it's going to be really, really big. And plus, you'll be in a success cycle anyway. So you would be my new best friend in that sense, that a lot of nice things should be happening, and you're going to see the kind of break you're looking for on the material plane. Also, in a cycle like this, people from the past that you haven't seen or heard from, you hear news of them, whether it's through reunions, marriages, funerals, christenings, baby showers, et cetera, et cetera. So be on the lookout for that. Now, who is likely to help you during this month of your success as their theme? You'll find that Capricorns, Aquarians, and Libras, or anybody born on the 8th, the 17th, or the 26th of the month will be of help to you. As for the color to wear will be black from the lightest to the darkest, okay? And the stone or crystal to wear or carry is obsidian. That would be the stone for you. Now, what happens if you are a Virgo? That is, if your sun, moon, or ascendant is in the sign of Virgo. Your theme this month is about creativity, to use charm and optimism and imagination to get the things you want. And although Virgo is normally ruled by an earth sign that makes you more practical and grounded, at the same time, this says take that practicality, but spin it with a little creativeness to it. Spin it with a little optimism and imagination to add color and flavor to what you're trying to do. Because the first week indicates you want to set the foundation to get some things started. It's going to be in that week of the 8th through the 14th, where you be in a week of a change, but at the same time, expect a little stress around the 14th and the 15th when the moon is sitting in your opposition sign of Pisces. And you'll find that not to overextend yourself, not to take things too far, but to kind of take it easy. It's in the third week of the 15th to the 21st that you'll find that personally, in terms of your health, relationships, your finances, that should begin to blossom. You should get a lot of mileage and a lot of interesting developments out of it. Some kind of recognition will be coming your way. And especially around that third Friday or somewhere around the 15th of the month, give or take a day or two. But it's in the very last week when the moon is sitting in your sign on the 27th and 28th. I would say the sun will be out in all of its glory for you. You'll be in a point whereby, yet with all the possibilities of that, yet at the same time, you'll do it in a way that's very reflective, very sobering, in a way that's humble, with a degree of humility, and also beginning to appreciate things and pay attention to your dreams, hunches, and intuitions as well. That is likely to do you very, very well during this time. You'll find that who is likely to help you during this month of July will be those under Pisces and Sagittarius, or if they're born on the 3rd, the 12th, the 21st, or the 30th of the month, they will be of help to you more than the rest of them. Now, as for the color to wear, that should be yellow. And as for the stone to wear or crystal to carry, it should be amethyst, okay? What about Librans? Well, Libra, if your sun, moon, or ascendant is in the sign of Libra, your goal this particular year is, or particular month, I should say, is about stability, okay? To have a sense of security, to have a sense of focus in your intentions, in your directions in terms of what you want to do. Yes, Libra is an air sign, which means you go where the wind is blowing, but that is not the style to use this particular cycle that you're going through for the summer month of July. It says to be steadfast, to be rock steady, to be focused and whatnot. So you can, so even if people are depending on you, you will be able to hold them up very well. And this is going to be proved the point as soon as you break out the week of the month of July, because on the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, the moon is actually sitting in your sign. It gives you a good start to get it off. And not only that, I'm getting ahead of myself, but in the very last days of this month, the moon will be sitting in your sign too. So it's like a blue moon where it's in the first part and it's in the last part. But nonetheless, this month or this particular week will give you an opportunity to make some major changes of a very dynamic nature. But the second week of the 8th through the 14th is really, really when you begin to feel your oats, you feel at home, especially if you relate to relationships, improvement of your health, as well as relationships. That should be good. Around about the third week, from the 15th to the 21st, this is a time for you to set back, reflect, take a stock of what you're doing, why you're doing it, and you'd be surprised that things might be revealed, but it's going to be tested at the same time, because the 16th, 17th, and 18th, the moon is sitting in your stress sign of Taurus. And so therefore, try not to be maybe in the sense of doing too much, but try to stay settled. You know, sometimes they say you bite off more than you can chew. Well, that's that period that it says, okay, I know you're stable. I know everything is about focus. Everything is about security, but you got to allow for a little wiggle room for the odd and unusual or the sudden and unexpected. But it's as you go into the final week of the 22nd to the end of the month, especially around the 29th, the 30th, and the 31st, the last 3 days of July, the moon will be back in your sign again. So it's going to allow you to really come into some kind of money, make some major moves, experience a large degree of success, and you're going to be doing a lot of growing up in the process. And who is likely to help you, Libra? Expect an Aquarius, expect a Leo or a Gemini, or anybody born on the 1st, 4th, 10th, 13th, 19th, 22nd, 28th, or 31st of the month to be there for you when you perhaps least expect it. And as for the color, you should wear golden brown. That is a beautiful color to wear for you. And although that's not normally the color of your sign, but for the cycle that you're in, that's about as perfect as you can get. And the stone or crystal to wear or carry is smoky quartz. Okay. Now, what happens if your sun or moon or ascendant is in the sign of Scorpio? Well, you'll find that your theme this particular month, Scorpio, is introspection, to become observant, to pay close attention, to have a sense of situational awareness of going on around you, to also approach this month with mental clarity as against being in a fog, okay? To have a sense of why you're doing those things. It's also going to be that kind of cycle whereby I would expect you to have some strange visions. A lot of things are going to be found out about money in the very first week because it's in the 5th and the 6th when the moon is in your sign of Scorpio, that you're likely to kind of come into some monies or something related in a financial way that's going to really be of help to you, and probably when you least expect it to. And as you go into the second week of the 8th through the 14th, that's when you're going to want to put a hold on something. You're going to make a discovery in a way that you say, okay, you know what? I need to let this go. I need to walk away from that. But on the flip side of it, it also means it would be a period to manifest some of the things that you've been after for the most part too. All right. Then as you go into the third week, that's going to be the time whereby, yes, you're going to want to jumpstart things, but you're going to have to be careful, especially on the 19th and 20th, when the moon is sitting in your opposition sign of Taurus. And so, yes, try not to be selfish, try to be flexible. And again, the whole thing is about exercising a degree of introspection, to be more observant, to be more proactive, to hold your frame, as they say, to not act, but to kind of lay back and see what's going on. And you'll find it in the very last week. You like to be mending fences, or you're going to find there's going to be a kind of a transitional thing that's happening with either relationships, your workspace, your living arrangements, or whatever. But it simply means take your time, do not force anything, but let things happen on its own accord. Now, who is likely to help you? That would likely to be a Cancer, Pisces, or someone born on the 2nd, 7th, the 11th, 16th, 20th, 25th, or 29th of the month. And the color to wear, believe it or not, is purple. And the stone or crystal to wear or carry is fluorite. That would be the best stone for you this particular year or particular month of July. What about Sagittarius? If your sun, moon, or ascendant is in the sign of Sagittarius, the theme for you this month is easy: leadership, to take action, to do things with courage and conviction, to begin to think in terms of breaking new ground. And leaders are always using the first principle. Yes, Sagittarius, your sign, is known for all the great entertainers and whatnot, musicians, artists, comics, things of that nature. But this month says you need to get serious about the business of business. That's the kind of cycle you're in. And so therefore, taking leadership positions, taking the lead, don't be shy, just step to the plate. Yes, I can do it. You know, sometimes we are in a position, but we don't want to step forward to claim the leadership. Well, the opportunity is there for you to do so. And especially in the first week, because you get a chance to kind of get together with like-minded people, especially around the 7th, 8th, and 9th as we begin to move into the second week. The moon is sitting in your sign. This should spur on this energy, this drive to really exhibit and personify your leadership role. It's going to be in the second week from the 8th to the 14th that things are really going to blossom, really going to expand, and you're going to see, as I call it, the fruits of your labors, and that things come out to a way you want. So approach that week with optimism, conviction, and make sure your intentions are steadfast and stay focused. It's in that fourth week, though, whereby it's about, okay, or I should say the third week, whereby it says, take your time, slow it down a bit. And this is going to be very important because around the 21st, 22nd, the moon is sitting in your direct opposition sign. We'll also be in Mercury retrograde, which means there's likely to be some, maybe, hopefully not, some confusion or misunderstandings. I thought you said this. No, you said that. And the next thing you get into a beat that like where as much as nothing to do about the other. But if you wait until the very last week, that's going to bring about a change for opportunities and possibilities and allow you to travel, allow you to take advantage. And since your sign is one of the most diverse signs, to begin to really show off all of your talents, gifts, skills, and abilities that life has to offer you. You'll find as a result that the signs of Leo and Aquarius and Aries will help you, or anyone born on the 1st, 4th, 10th, 13th, 19th, 22nd, 28th, or 31st of any month. They will help you. And the color you should wear, believe it or not, Sagittarius, is gold. And the stone or crystal you should wear or carry is sunstone. Okay. Now, what about Capricorns? Well, Capricorn, if your sun, moon, or ascendant is in the sign of Capricorn, your theme this particular month of July is service. And also understand that astrologically, this is when considered your lowest time of the year. Every month carries with it on the other side of the horoscope its opposition sign. Well, this is a sign of Cancer, and the lowest point for all Capricorns is this time of the year. But it still means to make a commitment, to be nurturing in the process, to not let the fact that, well, this is my low point, I'm not going to make an effort, not with the theme being of service. So if you say you're going to do something, do it. If you're going to make a promise, do it. Because what's going to happen in the very opening week, that's going to give you a time to reflect, to think a moment, to feel. And in fact, it'll allow you to really get your house in order in terms of, okay, now that I'm here, now it's the summer, what do I need to do? And what kind of service can I provide without overextending myself? And you'll find that the 8th and the 11th, well, I should say really in the second week from the 8th to the 14th, especially around the 10th and 11th when the moon is sitting in your sign, that will give you a time to offset things. And not only that, though, the challenge will be that on the 11th, there will be a full moon in the sign of Cancer. So it'll be the sun is in Cancer, the moon is in Cancer, both directly to your opposition sign, but yet it will be a blessing in disguise to take advantage of. All right. And it's in the third week, the 15th to the 21st. It allows you to kind of wrap some things up, to kind of make some commitments and make sure that you fulfill all the things you promised people, all the things that you said you were going to do. You know, there used to be this saying, you can show me better than tell me. Well, that's the kind of cycle that all Capricorns are in. Because, you know, talk is cheap, as the indigenous people used to say. Talk is very cheap. And people say that anyway. But you have to make sure you're steadfast in your word, steadfast in your commitments by your actions, your words, and your deeds. As you go into the last week from the 22nd to the end of the month, there will be a big bump in the road. I kid you not. And that's going to be on the 23rd, 24th. And it's not that bad, but it simply means that whatever you're doing, try not to be selfish, because don't forget the entire theme for this month is about being of service. And you can't be of service if all you're doing is serving just yourself. And that may be the tendency. And with the moon in your opposition sign on that 23rd and 24th, you just have to maybe be more mindful to make sure that you don't do it to a point that actually where you go 2 steps up or 3 steps back, so to speak. Now, who's going to help you will be Taurus, your opposition sign, Libra, or anybody born on the 6th, the 15th, or the 24th of any month. And you find in the color to wear will be indigo, and the stone or crystal to wear or carry is kunzite. That's Kunzite. Kunzite. Now, what about Aquarius? If your sun, moon, or ascendant is in the sign of Aquarius, your theme for the month of July is inspiration, to bring forth visionary ideas and concepts, to be the mastery of a subject, the mastery of your life, more preferred, to be honest with you, but to do it in a way that this masterfulness that you manage to master will serve humanity to its highest role. Because Aquarius is a humanitarian sign anyway. Well, with the cycle that you're in, being under a master number influence for July, says that this is definitely a time for you to exhibit it to the nth degree. And in fact, you'll find that you'll be at your creative best in the opening week. You'll find that there's likely to be words of some kind of abundance or self-improvement or making the right contacts to help things grow. And in the second week, especially in the 8th through the 14th, the moon will be sitting in your sign on both the 12th and 13th day of the month. It gives you an opportunity to really rise and shine and show what you can really do and bring out that inspiration that will inspire others to reach their level of height of whatever that case may be. Now, you can't hold everybody's hand, but you can be a role model as to bringing out the best in other people by having an enlightened type of mind, an enlightened consciousness, and be honest and forthright in all your intentions to move things in the way that it should be. And the third week, it indicates a change of some kind, a trip of some kind, or at least an opportunity to take a break and get away from the monotony of it all. and maybe go somewhere for a day or two if that's possible. But opportunities are going to present itself in that particular week. Going into the last week, though, especially around the 25th to 26th, when you're in a six cycle that deals with duty and obligation of responsibilities, look for that last Friday or somewhere around the 24th, especially since right after that, the 25th and 26th, give or take a day or two, where the moon will be in your challenging sign. So it just simply means as you go toward the end of the month, make sure you're careful, make sure you don't overextend yourself, and make sure that you stay on point by being an inspiration to everybody you meet, since Aquarius is normally considered the humanitarian sign in the zodiac. Now, who is likely to help you? A Leo, another Aquarius, or anybody born on the 2nd, 7th, 11th, 16th, 20th, 25th, or 29th of the month. The color you should wear is silver. It represents the reflection of the moon, and the crystal or stone you should wear or carry is celestite, okay? And that's Celestite. Now, what about Pisces? For Pisces, if your sun, moon, or ascendant is in this sign, your goal or theme this month is about being innovative, to set goals, to be a trailblazer, to be somewhat like a pioneer, to do things in a way that hasn't been done before. You know, Pisces is a mutable sign. It likes to adjust and can adjust to all conditions. But this particular period says you need to take charge of things, to not waver, to not dilly-dally, as they say, but to really have a sense of focus, direction, and purpose, and along this create an innovative trail that people can follow and be admired for what you're doing. Now, in the first week, it indicates things might start off slow. So it says be patient, take your time, especially around that first Monday or somewhere around the second, to be a little careful, give or take a day or two. It's in that third week, though, it's in the second week, the 8th through the 14th, that you'll get a chance to really begin to expand. You'll see that things begin to open up for you. And that's when you take advantage to try to get all these innovative ideas and concepts and put them into action, especially on the 14th and the 15th, as we transition into the third week, because the moon will literally be sitting in your sign that will give you that extra push that you need. It's in the third week that things will begin to say, okay, I need to tighten things up, have a sense of purpose, have a sense of order of what I'm planning to do and how I'm going to make these things happen. And you'll find that in the last week, you might have a chance or feeling that I need to get away for a day or two to kind of change it up. But around the 27th and 28th, you need to be very mindful because the moon will be sitting in your direct opposition sign. So look for somewhere around the last Wednesday or on that 23rd leading up until about a week after that, the 27th to 28th, to be more of a kind of a cautionary tale for you. But nonetheless, don't forget your whole theme, your whole role is about innovating and being the best that you can be in all the things you want to do. Now, if you are an Aries and your sun, moon, or ascendant is in the sign of Aries, your theme this particular month is about knowledge, self-discovery, seeking wisdom and understanding. And you know, knowledge is having a sense of knowledge. And you know, Aries, you'll have strong personalities, okay? And if you look at the history of Aries, they're normally very expressive in the world of athletics, politics, the musical arts, and things like that. Scholars, and it's not that Aries can't be scholarly. I'm sure there's some scholarly Aries. But the point is to begin to exercise the gaining of wisdom and understanding as I get to seek those things. Now, coming out the gate on the first week is going to find that kind of crazy because you're going to see that on the second, third, and fourth, the moon is going to be sitting directly opposing you, you know, and so in the sign of Libra. So you're going to have to be really, really a little bit careful. And so don't take it to heart because it's going to be in that second week of the 8th through the 14th that now you have a chance to fulfill some of the things you've been wanting to do. Getting a chance to put some things to the side and let bygones be bygones. and yet to begin to maybe plan something for yourself, to do something well worthwhile, because as you go into that third week, you'll find that now you're in a self-starting mood, especially around the 16th, the 17th, and the 18th, when the moon is actually sitting in your sign. This is going to spur you to really push things forward. But at the same time, do it with the point where if you travel or do anything, it is to seek a higher sense of knowledge and wisdom and understanding. Uh, that's why that's why there's so many books. And not only that, but there's so many things to learn. And this, if you take that to heart, you'll find that you'll do very, very well. And as you go into the last week, it just simply means to be patient, which is normally not an Aries trait, but you'll find in being patient, you'll find it well worth your while. Now, who is likely to help you during this period of July, Aries? You'll find that Cancer and Pisces, or anybody born on the 2nd, 7th, 11th, 16th, 20th, 25th, and 29th of the month helping you. Now, the color to wear, believe it or not, is a deep blue, because normally reds are more your color, but this month it's a deep blue, and you'll find that clear quartz will be best for you, all right? Now, what about Taurus? If your sun, moon, or ascendant is in the sign of Taurus, your goal, your objective, which is perfect for you being an earth sign, is practicality, to be grounded, to be stable, to project a sense of security where people feel secure, safe, and confident in being in your space. You're going to find, though, that may not appear like that when you have an opportunity where you want to make a change, because around the 5th and 6th of the month, your moon will be stressing you a bit in the sign of Scorpio. So you may not be feeling that, feeling secure and whatnot, but be on edge. So make sure you don't do anything impulsive or off the cuff, but make sure that right now is about being as stable as you can possibly get it to do what you got to do. Also, you'll find that around that second week, you'll be in your element, and you'll see that you not only feel much better, you'll seem to be blossoming. You'll seem to get a sense of getting your house in order, getting your appearance in order, and things of that nature. And as you go into the third week, and this is going to be good, because around the 19th and 20th, you're going to find that things are going to be working out very, very well for you. And in fact, it's going to give you time to find some space to yourself, to figure out what you need to do with your life and why. And don't be surprised if some strange dream that may give a clue or unlock a clue to some of the things that's been missing or that's been a puzzle to you for a while. As you go into the final week, well, that looks like that's going to be a romance and finance week. So that looks very promising. And it tells me that somewhere around that last Saturday or somewhere around the 26th, give or take a day or two, that is going to be of help to you. And I would imagine that you should find that all the practicality that you exercise during this entire month of July, followed by being grounded and stable and giving a sense of security, that is going to pay off very well. Now, who's going to help you? Well, look for an Aquarius or a Leo or a Gemini or anyone born on the 1st, 4th, 10th, 13th, 19th, 22nd, 28th, or 31st of the month to be of help to you. Finally, Gemini. Isn't that something when you're the last sign in the reading? Okay, I know that feeling. Trust me. All right. So for Geminis, if your sun, moon, or ascendant is in the sign of Gemini, your theme this particular month is about expression, to be lighthearted, to be inspiring through your words and your actions and things of that nature. And this is perfect theme for your sign, because Gemini is a sign of communication anyway. Not only that, Mercury, which is the ruler of Gemini, ruling communications, will be playing a very stronger than average role in your affairs this particular month too, because Mercury goes retrograde on the 17th and will stay there till August 11th. And because you are a Gemini, which is governing this planet, it just simply means however you express yourself, make sure you think first before you speak, and not just get out there, because sometimes Geminis can be impulsive. Not all Geminis, okay? So don't say, oh, we're all Gemini. I'm not saying that. There are some, all depending on the date of birth, that modifies it. You got some more conservative Geminis, but in the case, It just simply means to take your time. Now, you'll find in the first week, that's when you're going to open and approach the month with a sense of, okay, I need to slow it down. I need to have a kind of a plan as to how I'm going to get from point A to point B. Now that I know that my sign or my planet will be going kind of off track around mid-month, all right? That will help you, but it'll be good for you to be as organized as possible. As you come into the second week, you're more in your own, but you have to be a little careful of kind of traveling and make sure you double check all your plans, because around the 7th, 8th, and 9th, the moon is going to be sitting in your stress sign. And so with that being the case, we're close and being in the shadow of Mercury retrograde, double check your plans. Don't assume that everything is going to go. If you take a plane ride with all the nonsense going on in the airport, make sure you get there early. Make sure you meet all the requirements, that you don't bring something that they either take from you or you got to leave. Those are kind of the things that will help save you a lot of wear and tear and frustration. But going into the third week, though, there seems to be a little element of romance and finance. Seems to be an element of adjustments too, and sprucing yourself up and getting things together. And you'll find that that will be very, very important for you as you go into that transition, going into the third, into the fourth week, around the 21st and 22nd. The moon will be sitting in your sign. So that's going to give you a chance to really express what you do. And, you know, there's this saying about express yourself, and you will be able to do that, even though Mercury will then officially be in retrograde, your planetary ruler. But it simply means just simply this: Geminis can be impulsive. It tells me at that point to think first before you speak. Slow it down before you make a decision, and you'll see that you should get through it with flying colors. But it's going to be the 21st and 22nd again. That's going to be very helpful, and that's how it's going to end it. So you're going to end really the month of July on a very quiet, reflective note, and yet it's going to be very, very good in terms of how you express things, how you inspire others to express their feelings too. But you're going to be very specific about it. Those that are going to help you for this particular month will be Sagittarians and Pisces, or those that are born on the 3rd, 12th, 21st, or 30th of the month. And you'll find that the color to wear would be light blue, and the stone to wear or carry, in addition to shungite, should be citrine. Those would be it. And there you have it for all the signs from Cancer all the way to Gemini for this month of July of 2025.
Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us. This is number what for us?
19. This is our 19th consecutive cosmic forecast recording.
Really? 19 is my number too.
Yep. 19 rules Leo. 19 is called the Prince of Heaven. In your case, the Princes of Heaven. It's considered honor, success, and esteem. You see, for the sign of Leo, what's the theme? Success. Not bad.
Yeah, I liked it. I liked the Leo reading. More so, I like the fact that it was up second. So I'm like, oh, Leo already?
And next month, it'll be your turn first.
Number one. Let's just forget July. Let's move straight to August.
Yep. Got to be selfish every now and then. But
One
please.
of the one thing that I noticed though was that there was a lot of help coming from, of course, Leo and Aquarius this month.
Yeah. Well, that seems to be the predominant helpful sign. If one was to go back, it would almost seem as if those two signs are dominant in helping and assisting people along the way this particular year.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yes,
It
it does.
makes a lot of sense, especially for Aquarius being the humanitarian number, one of the humanitarian numbers, and then when you look at look at Leo or the number one, Leos are generous, and they love to help people. So that makes a lot of sense, and their opposition signs.
But not only that, Leo, your sign rules the master number 11. Aquarius, my sign, rules the master number 22. So these are two master numbers, and maybe that explains the long success we've had at doing this. The comments have always been very encouraging, and we do ask any suggestions, any comments, good, bad, and different. that you want to make, please. That's how we grow. And this is exactly why we have now finished our 19th session, which I'm very proud of.
Yeah, and I just want to say thank you to everybody that's been listening in. Whether you've been here since the beginning and you remember the very first one, or if this is maybe the first one that you've ever seen, or last month was the first one. Thank you so much for showing up. Please let us know your sun, moon, and rising, which one you're using, because some people use something different. For me, I always go by my sun sign. I don't know why. I just always go straight for my sun sign.
Well,
What do
most
you
people do.
use?
Most people do. Those that are really more into astrology know they take their moon into consideration as well as their ascendant. And then some go even deeper than that, their north node, south node. I mean, you can get really deep into the weeds. But I do want to say, though, toward the end of this month, I'm going to be teaching a palmistry class. I did this earlier this year. It was so much fun. And I taught the students a lot about how to read a hand, and the beautiful part, all you got to do is just learn the power of observation just by looking. Um, and the length of the hands, the length of the palms will give an idea, as you know, about, I think back in May, when all this stuff started with P. Diddy, we got a hold of his hand. We was analyzing his hand through palmistry and other things like that. But you can tell a lot, but it's going to be on July 29th. That's when it's going to be. And so I would encourage anybody who would like to know the art of palmistry to sign on, join us. We'll have a lot of fun. It's a 4-week course and it's full of illustrations so you know what a hand looks like in normal and when a hand is not normal. It is about teaching you how to do those things. Yes?
I just wanted to let everybody know that you will be able to see it. I'm gonna post it up in the video so that you can access it and go straight to the link and sign up for that if you want to join the palmistry class. So it will be there in the link for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And also, I just want to let everybody know that they should also check out their Star 8, the mobile app that you have. It's a toolbox for everyone who wants to know a little bit more about themselves, and if you want to be guided in your everyday life, because there's a calendar feature on the app that just makes life a little bit easier. It tells you the best days for you, and it tells you those days that you may want to slow down some. And there's also a lot of compatibility features, like when is the best time you should travel, or are you in the best relationship? What about your vehicle? We talked about earlier Mercury retrograde. Maybe it's not Mercury retrograde. Maybe the one that you chose is not in alignment with your birthday. But these are some of the things that you can learn about yourself on the Star 8 mobile numerology app. And you can go to star8.com, or you can just go to the App Store or go on Google Play and download it. And you can also go to Linktree /numbers and you. There will be a masterclass for those of you who are interested in learning how to use numerology in your everyday life, and not only just use it in your life, to use it to read other people as a business. So we're going to have that coming up soon, and I'll keep you updated with the details right here.
Now, speaking of that, somebody I know who shall be nameless is a business astronumerologist. And what they do is they provide a service, and I'll give a background because a lot of people don't know the bank JP Morgan, the guy that founded it died back in March the 30th of 1913. That's well over 100 years ago. But his institution in his name, JP Morgan, still exists. Well, what JP Morgan did was he used an astrologer to help him get his business off the ground. And what he did was, when the press in that day followed him and says, I started to say they put a microphone, but microphones wasn't developed then. But when they came with their pen and pad and says, is astrology, is it true astrology make millionaires? His response was no. They make billionaires. And he was actually, for those who are interested, there is a wonderful book by Evangeline Adams, an astrologer, who wrote a book called The Bowl of Heaven, her autobiography. And she explained that she actually taught J.P. Morgan astrology. And J.P. Morgan also used astrology on his staff. So, since Evangeline Adams isn't here anymore, Miss Kimberly Williams is here, and she will be just as good. So I would advise everybody to go to the bottom of the screen and go to kimbaley.com and click on you get a complimentary consultation. You really do. All you got to do is go there. Don't work the sister's nerves. Okay, she's busy. Just just pay attention, take notes. She'll also give you a summary and whatnot. But this is her job. So for those of you who have a budding business idea or business in fact, business in motion, that is the place to go. kimbaley.com. Set up an appointment. She'll get back to you, and she'll really get you on your way, astrologically and numerically speaking.
Thank you so much for that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I just want to say that it seemed like the forecast was wonderful for just about every sign today. I like
Mm-hmm.
to hear when it's like that.
Wait till next month.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Next month is gonna be something else.
Yes, it is.
You know what I used to do when I was much younger? I used to take the whole month of August and I party all month long.
Rumor has it you still do that.
Hmm?
Rumor has it you still do that.
In my mind,
Same thing. Same thing.
hang like I used to when you hit a certain age. You gotta bring it on in, bring it on in.
Yep. Yep. All the way. All the way. But I do want to thank you very, very much. And I wish you a great summer of July, a very safe and productive one. And since all Leo is in their success cycle, I wish all Leos within the sound of my voice to really, really put your best foot forward, take no prisoners, no wooden nickels, and do what you got to do.
And
Just
let us know
what you
how
got
it
to do.
goes. Wait up.
Yeah.
We like to know. Inquiring minds like to know.
Yes, and we certainly do like to know. That's for sure. So anyway, I do want to thank you, Miss Kimberly, very much. And do I have anything else to say? Oh, please be aware of Mercury retrograde. It simply means don't rush. And since we are in a 9 universal year that governs conflicts and wars, you already know what's going on in the Middle East and other parts of the country. This is not the time to anybody to lose their temper, and it pressures on a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? Financially and everything of that nature. But try not to let that get you, which I know is easier said than done when you're under a lot of pressure. But if you can think like that, and because we are in a 7 universal month, kind of see in your mind what you want. And don't see confrontations, don't see lack, see lots, see abundance, see prosperity. And just hold it in your mind and believe in the Most High. The Most High knows what he's doing. He's just, as I said, he's just got millions of people pulling at him. But if you do that, you'll find that by the end of this month of July, going into August, you'll say, you know what, Stray, you knew what you were talking about.
And I say that is especially so for those that are Geminis, Virgos, born on the 5th, the 14th, or the 23rd. It may impact you a little more than everybody else, but you know, there's a possibility that everybody may get impacted in some way or another, but
Mhm.
you know, it might be just a bit more for you all. All that means is make sure you're being more aware. Just pay attention to your surroundings.
Real simple, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, real simple.